Hello and welcome. I'm Sanket Upadhyay, and you're watching me on TheFederal. The Pahalgam attack has shocked an entire nation, has angered the entire nation. But at the same time, there is something else that we should, as a nation, be outraged about. And that is, while our anger should be directed against Pakistan, the perpetrators of this attack, in many parts of this country, we have seen that the anger or the outrage is directed against the Indian Muslims, who also are quite outraged about this incident, particularly those in Kashmir. And many of them have had to come out and prove that they are patriotic. We are talking about the Muslim community. But should that really be required? Why should every such incident become a patriotism test for the Muslims in this country? I have with me Mr. Najeeb Jung, the former Vice Chancellor of Jamia Millia Islamia, also the former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. Najeeb Saab, thank you so much for giving us time. I want to know your initial comments on how, post the 22nd of April, it completely became a test for the Muslims in this country. They were beaten up, bashed. Kashmiri students, Kashmiris in different parts of the country. For the Muslims, they were a subject matter of target from BJP MPs, BJP's official Twitter handles. What would you say about this?
First, Sanket, let me begin by commiserating with the victims, the families of the victims that have been impacted by this dastardly attack. You and I can only have words, but we can never really express and understand the deep sorrow that they are going through. On your main question, it is exceptionally disturbing to all people in India, and I'm not speaking as a Muslim. I include a very large segment of my secular Hindu and Christian and Sikh friends who are equally disturbed at this violent reaction of sudden animosity that is being shown in India, across India, towards Muslims, and in particular towards Kashmiris. Now that there are not many Kashmiris left residing in our part of India, there are, of course, students, and they are having to bell the cat. They are harassed in the residences where they live, in the hostels, including Kashmiri girls. And I have said really that I hang my head in shame, because today these boys and girls who have come to study outside their homes have no place for shelter if their college hostels cannot provide shelter. And there are very few homes that can give them shelter. So they have to go back home. Yes, it is exceptionally disturbing that every time an attack like this would happen, Indian Muslims would be subject to a test of loyalty. Frankly, I am disturbed because I see no reason why so many in large numbers are coming to demonstrate their loyalty. I am an Indian. I'm a proud Indian. I've worked 45 years in government. I have sworn an oath to the Constitution of Islam, to India, not to Islam, not to Allah. My oath is to the Constitution of India. And therefore, I do not have to wear a flag over my chest that I am an Indian. There have been Indians in sports, in the armed forces, in the IAS, in business, who are first-rate and loyal citizens of this country. And therefore, to expect them to show their or demonstrate their patriotism or nationality is not only a reflection on Muslims' concern, but a reflection on the larger community that we live in. I would have expected the honorable members of parliament to have behaved in a more responsible manner. I am aware that a particular member of parliament actually challenged Article 26 and 29 and
Correct. Mr.
suggested
Nishikant Dubey.
that these should be changed. I would hang my head in shame, and I really find that we should not even be commenting on this. But I would really have expected the Honorable Prime Minister to pull this gentleman up. He has been speaking against the Supreme Court, against the former Chief Election Commissioner, and now this. So ordinary people take a lead from these people. I would expect professors, teachers, lawyers, businessmen, parliamentarians, journalists to come out like yourself and speak that what is happening is nonsense, that we are falling in the classical trap that is being set by Pakistan. And why Pakistan? India has enough enemies around it, that it's a classical trap that if India is divided on Hindu-Muslim lines, if 20% of the population is in a state of, shall I say, disconcert or fear or sullenness, then India will suffer. India Inc. will suffer. And that is the lesson which I think must go through. And I draw a lot of succor, a lot of comfort from my secular Hindu friends. As you know, I belong to a group called the Constitution Conduct Group. And this is a group of 200 IAS, IPS, IFS retired officers, all of the level of the Secretary to Government of India. Only 3 were Muslims in this group, or are Muslims in this group. And all unitedly speak against what is happening. Now, that is the India that we know. But unfortunately, the voice of this concerned group is completely overshadowed and suppressed by this large, voluminous right-wing crowd that can stand on their terraces and talk about Muslims being anti-national, and this of course is coming from a generic Islamophobia also. So the steps have to be taken by Muslims themselves, and I've written about it to take steps that take away impressions of a conservative Islam into a modern Islam, into a modern-looking Islam. But that is what I would say to you.
Mr. Najeeb Jung, in your initial opening comment, there's one thing that really stood out where you seem to suggest that if there are divisions in India along religious lines, then you're giving an opportunity to Pakistan to attempt to exploit it. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And not only Pakistan. India has many enemies all around it. And not only around it, but across the globe. So this is an absolute opportunity. What General Asim Munir said was not an off-the-cuff remark. He knew of these right-wing elements that exist in India. He knows of the dissatisfaction or the fear or the sullenness that is existing in the Muslim community in India, thanks to various acts by the Union government over the last 10 years. And this is the attempt clearly to divide and create a much greater wedge between the communities. Because when Muslims get scared, then let's not forget Nimola. There will be the turn of Christians who are also concerned. And there are Sikhs who are concerned. And in a country where there are 22%, 23% minorities, to cause a concern in their minds is certainly bad for India. This is exactly what Asif Munir was driving at. And this is also what the enemies of India within and without are carefully watching.
Now, there's one question that I want to ask you particularly, and you've spoken about it earlier. The manner in which this hate internally is spread. Now, I'm talking about the 22nd night and the 23rd afternoon, when WhatsApp groups, almost in a synchronized way across the country, across urban Indian societies, and all WhatsApp groups, even in tier 2, tier 3 towns, were speaking an identical language. They were talking about Hindus under attack, which is also a fact, because in this terrorist attack, you have testimonies of victims saying that their identities were asked, Muslims were spared, Hindu women and children were spared, but the men were killed. So it was an attack on the identity, religious identity. But to use it in such a way to then mount an offensive against Indian Muslims or build an argument against Indian Muslims fed into the very same Islamophobic WhatsApp narrative that we've been seeing for a very long time. How do you respond to this?
Well, it's very clear. People talk of a deep state of governments. You talk of a deep state within Pakistan, you talk of a deep state within America. I speak of a deep state within the right-wing groups that can overnight energize themselves, activate themselves into this mammoth WhatsApp war against minorities in India. There is obviously a very, very planned initiative. And I've said this, and I repeat this clearly to you again and again, that this WhatsApp is not limited to RWAs. This WhatsApp is not limited to journalists and lawyers. It has sunk deep within my service, within the Foreign Service, within the armed forces. That is the dangerous thing. This is the deep state within the right-wing groups. It's extremely well organized, and we are all falling into the trap. The problem, Sanket, is, and I still say there is time for the secular lot now to speak out. They must not keep quiet. It is not stray voices like yours and mine that must speak of sanity. It is this large number of secular people in India who are silent and are watching this. They must now start speaking and writing about it and press the government to come out openly and clearly, because I see nothing at all from the government of India or from the state governments to come out openly against this hate. Why? We don't want, I'm sure the government of India does not want violence, but why would they not speak? So to answer your question, I think this
why would they not? What is your assessment?
Look, I don't want to say about it, but the concept of polarization, you bring hate into public domain, brings you votes. This is the whole problem that we have been seeing for many, many years, but certainly accentuated since 2014, that you divide the communities, and this is the only country where a majority community is feeling afraid of the minorities, the only country in the world. So how successful has been this divide, that you create such a fear in the minds of a large number of Hindus that this is a lot that came to your country, that they have abused your women, they have destroyed your temples, and you keep speaking again and again and again and divide this country. So you grow hate, and it benefits you politically.
Now, what's the way out of this, Mr. Najeeb Jung? One, you say that liberal voices, secular voices, progressive voices must get together. But I believe they've been saying what they have for very many years. And then, of course, there is a political narrative which also kicks in, which is where these WhatsApp groups help. So do you think right now it wouldn't really hurt Mr. Najeeb Jung if a Muslim did have to get up and say that, yes, I am a loyal Indian, and the world must know that I'm a loyal Indian, and I would wish to wear my patriotism up my sleeve. So in that context, it will serve well for the Muslims.
Well, that is the psychology that has been working with all these so-called, what they call in Urdu, tasneems, and these jamaats, and these groups that had come out in great numbers, that, we are patriotic, we are nationalistic. I smell fear in them. I smell a certain concern in all this demonstration, So I really think that there is no need for...
Are you saying it's not coming from a good place? It's not coming out of a genuine feeling, and it is coming out of fear?
No, I think it's a combination. It's certainly a combination that, for instance, when I read of this, I immediately said that this is nonsense. I must immediately protest. It didn't occur to me that I was a Hindu or a Muslim, but I did feel that I must protest. I must write about it. I must speak to you about it. So there are a large number of Muslims who felt that they must immediately speak about this.
Speak about the Pahalgam attack.
About the Pahalgam attack, about the question that it is atrocious, it is ridiculous, and obviously the Muslims of India understand that there is a clear hand of the ISI in it. There is no doubt about it.
Which is why, Mr. Jung, which is why my question, that why is it wrong if, say, for instance, a Muslim does feel the need to wear the patriotism right on his sleeves? Show it,
on with it.
Bring it to the fore.
Okay, let me ask you a counter question. There is nothing wrong with it. But would you wear your patriotism on your sleeve all the time? You're an Indian. I'm an Indian. We have one vote. Now, are you wearing your patriotism on your sleeve? Are you on your channel? First thing that you say is, Jai Bharat, I'm Bharati. Are you saying that? No, you're not. So why should a Muslim constantly say that? I don't think it's needed. I think that we are a mature country, that we have an old history. It's an old couplet from Majaz. Like, तेरे माथे पे ये आंचल बहुत खूबसूरत है, लेकिन तो इस आंचल का परचम तो बना लेती तो अच्छा था. This is a very beautiful aanchal, but you make a flag of it, it'll look more beautiful. That is what the Muslims do say. You've seen that now. So coming back, Sanket, the point that you are making is, it is embarrassing for India that Muslims in India should be in the place that they are in. It is embarrassing for you. It is embarrassing for all right-thinking Indians. I, at this moment, am not expecting the government to come out openly and counter this. And therefore, I said that it is the civic society that must come out and counter this. It's really tragic that the socialist movement in India died. We had such giants, whether we had LeMay or whether we had Lohiya ji, whether we had Dr. Faridi, or we had Dharia, the real giants, or Dandavate or George Fernandez, who could come out and speak about this openly and be heard. The tragedy again is that the largest opposition party today, the Congress, seems to not be heard. I don't hear the right voices. I hear an occasional voice that we are secular. But the proof of the pudding lies really in the eating, that the Congress must come out now with full force. The others, by the way, are completely diluted, as you have seen in the support of the Waqf bill. So the Congress is the only one left.
Mr. Najeeb Jung, thank you very much for your time. I think these are important words, wise words, and let's hope people do make sense of this. Thank you so much for your time.